We got a start bench cut with Melo, T-Mac, and PG. I'm not gonna lie, some of my bias had kicked in, so I automatically went with T-Mac and Melo at first. Cause I was like, Paul George don't belong in that conversation. But then I had to put some of my bias aside. T-Mac, as great as an offensive weapon as he struggled tremendously in the playoffs. He never got the first round until he got with the Spurs, and he was riding the bench by that point.
How do you judge players like this? Like, do you go off? Okay, we
Because none
knew
of them
what
got a
Melo
ring.
was.
So I know they say Paul
Yeah,
George has more playoff success, but none of them have been to a finals before. Melo has been to a conference finals just like Paul George. So that's where it kind of get tricky. None of them have MVPs. T-Mac had an argument to win an MVP back in '03. He got scoring titles. Melo got a scoring title. Paul George is looked at as, of his time, as one of the best two-way. Melo got the least All NBAs. That's the odd thing about Melo, because if you actually lived during his whole career, he was always arguably a top three small forward in his prime. So that alone,
yeah,
he should have at
yeah.
least 8 All NBAs. At least.
Who was the great scorers of his old Durant, huh? So I was going to
You
say
had
who's
Durant.
getting the scoring titles. Did
LeBron, I
LeBron
think,
get
got one.
one?
Did
I think
LeBron get
LeBron
one?
got one. Yeah, I know LeBron got one. I
You
know.
talking about when he was with the Knicks, right?
Yeah. Did Steph Curry
Or
get
late?
one around?
Uh,
Nah, Steph Curry came way
that
later, huh?
I think that was after the Knicks.
Yeah, because LeBron got his in '07,
Kevin
'08.
Durant got so many. He probably got just about all of them during his time.
And when Kevin Durant, he did get
I
four
want
of
to say
them joints.
Melo got his scoring title with the Knicks though, so he got one of them too.
Yeah, he got his in like, what was it, 2011, 12? One of them. But see, I think Carmelo got the least amount of accolades, but I think he got the most All Stars. He got the same amount of All NBAs as Paul George. He got that one scoring title. He don't got no defensive nothing. The edge goes to T Mac because he got the most scoring titles. The edge goes to Carmelo. He got the most All Stars, and Paul George got the most All Defensive teams. But I will say Carmelo is the highest scoring at all of them in terms of on the all-time list. So
Oh
this shit
yeah,
really tough. This shit really is tough for real.
and I don't think Paul George is gonna pass him up. I don't even think Paul George may even pass T Mac up.
Paul
Yeah,
George and
I'm
Melo
not
both
wishing
got
injury.
six All NBAs.
Paul George, he just don't play enough to. I don't think he gonna pass Melo or T Mac. He may pass T Mac up, but I don't think he passing Melo in that regard.
Nah, hell no. If you building a
Oh,
team, which one would you pick? If you building a team, turn the injuries off, who would you pick?
T Mac.
And see, right there with you. So I think we both could go start T Mac. Because just like basketball talent, you can honestly say he clears both of them, just pure basketball talent. But the injuries is what got him, and then the playoff success. But just pure basketball talent, I think we both can agree T Mac is one. Now, who we benching? Does Melo scoring outweighs Paul George two-way ability? That's the question.
And you can't rewrite history, man. We seen what Melo was. Melo was out there giving LeBron problems, Kobe problems,
Hmm.
Pierce problems. Anybody that was a top 10 player during his time, Melo was that guy.
And he was in a tougher conference.
I never knew any generation ever looked at Paul George in that high regard, but it's a lot of young guys out there saying that was their favorite player growing up. And it's funny because, we had some people that from our era when we was growing up where people had some like who their favorite player was. And you look at them like, that's your favorite player? Like, nothing against Ray Allen, but when you heard somebody say my favorite player is Ray Allen, you were just kind of like, huh? He not even top three of his own position. Like, he never was. That's the truth of the matter. The only year he was probably better than Kobe was Kobe's rookie year. The only reason you can say that
but
because he got more playing time.
but the thing with Paul George, he was on that trajectory. Like when he was in
He definitely
Indiana,
was.
going to the
He
Eastern
definitely
Conference
was.
Finals, and then you got to think about what didn't he have? He could handle the ball, he could shoot a little bit, he could defend at a high level, he was explosive in transition. He was the prototypical wing coming after LeBron, KD, Melo, those guys. So you could really argue he was a top 10 player during his Indiana days, or he was trending towards top five. I think people take into consideration what he could have been because, Paul George was on his way, right? I can't really take him over Melo, though. Okay.
He ain't
Okay.
scored 20,000 points in his career. I thought he had at least 20.
What would Paul George have to have been to take him over Melo?
I think it's more so just a preference thing for me. If I need somebody coming off the bench, I know I don't have to have much more scoring if I got Melo coming off the bench. So it's easier to build them. I can easily find some perimeter defenders or some elite wing defenders, something like that. If I get Paul George, it's not a guarantee he's going to be that much firepower off the bench. Like I could trust a Melo coming off the bench. I think that's just more so just me leaning towards that. Like I know if I had a bench player, I got Melo who can get it going offensively. He's a great rebounder and just a hell of a competitor. That's just my preference with it.
I think Paul George might got him in playoffs though. Melo's playoff stats look kind of nasty.
Yeah. It do kind of drop a little bit. But when
But
you
then
think
Paul,
about, see, it's no excuse. You make do with what you got. But Paul George had much better teams throughout his career than both of them. Melo was always the guy. He never had a co-star. When he finally did have one, Amari Stoudemire got hurt. T-Mac, on the other hand, he would have had a co-star to Grant Hill, but he got hurt. He would have had a co-star to Yamin, but they both was injury prone. So man, one thing about your career is everything got to fall into the right place at the right time. Like you think about a Magic, like bro, Magic couldn't have asked for nothing, no better situation than what he ended up in.
let us know in the comments. Start bench cut, Melo, T Mac, Paul George. Let us know in the comments. So we benching Melo. That's what it
That's
sounds
what I
like.
would do. I wouldn't be mad whatever order somebody put this in. This is just my preference. Like I'm not
Nah,
saying
if
it's
you
the
if you start Paul George, I'll be kind of mad. If somebody say they starting Paul George, like now you can either bench him or cut him, but no, don't start him though.
the
I'll be
crazy
kind of
part
mad.
is they both start when they was at OKC,
Yeah,
and
but
that
that
wasn't even
team,
prime Melo.
yeah, but
So
Melo
what?
still should have been better.
Hey, they should all
They
be
all
better.
should have been better. Yeah,
Didn't Paul George shoot 2 for 16 in an elimination game?
that's the Joe Ingles series. Yes,
That's
yeah.
nasty work. I don't think
But
Melo ever got outplayed by a Joe Ingles level player.
Paul George was giving it to Prom LeBron. Was he giving it to him though? I ain't gonna say he was giving it to him. The
I
only thing
guess.
is, Paul George wasn't folding like DeMar DeRozan. Paul George was sticking in there a little.
I think people sleep on how deep that Indiana team really was.
No, I don't know, Ray. I don't know, Ray. But let us know in the comments. Start bench cut, Melo, T
You got
Mac,
a
Paul
solid
George.
point guard out of George Hill who was hitting some clutch shots down the stretch. You got David West who was a former All Star. You got Roy Hibbert during that time was a top 3 center and probably one of the best rim protectors in the league. So it wasn't making it easy for a player like LeBron or D Wade, who that was their bread and butter.
Whose conference finals team was better? Carmelo's or Paul George? Whose conference final team was better? I think Carmelo's conference final team was better because you had Chauncey Billups and Nene,
Jr.
J.R. Smith. I almost said
Uh,
Linus Clazer, but you catch my drift. I don't think Paul George supporting cast was all that, to be honest. I think the East was just kind of really weak during that LeBron era because
then
D Rose was getting hurt. DeMar DeRozan and the Raptors was one of the top teams, and we all know they wasn't all that. I think that East was weaker, but I think Melo did have a stronger conference finals team. Let us know in the comments who had a stronger conference final team, Paul George or Carmelo. They both only went to one conference finals, and when they was
that's
a guy.
I probably would lean towards Melo, but that team's only together 1 year.
That's true. But didn't Paul George? How far Paul George get with the Clippers? Didn't he go to the conference finals with the Clippers? He went to the conference finals in 2021.
Oh yeah, year Kawhi got hurt.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, we talking prom. The best version of them.
that what's it called? That conference finals wasn't pretty good for him.
Wasn't
It looked good getting there, but once he got there, it didn't look good no more.
Let me check Paul George stats real quick.
That boy shot 42% and 29% for the three.
Okay.
If they can criticize T Mac for averaging almost 30 points against the best defense, but in the last 3 games he shot terrible. They can criticize him for averaging 28 and 10, but still shooting 42%.
Thank you for everybody watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We talking start, bench, cut. Melo, T-Mac, or Paul George. Let us know in the comments who would you start, who would you bench, who would you cut. Us personally, we starting T-Mac. We benching Melo. We cutting Paul George. Let us know in the comments. What'd you say, Ray?
Did you realize that T-Mac was up 3-1 against the Pistons?
Yeah. Didn't he have Doc Rivers? So
No, we ain't about to. No, we can't use him as a scapegoat. Because how you get up 3-1? Doc Rivers was the coach then.
Man, hey, who got the bigger track record of blowing 3-1 leads?
Hey.
T-Mac or Doc Rivers?
T-Mac
it literally became a pattern, right? It became a pattern, bro.
Hey, was Doc Rivers T-Mac coach every year? They both got a track record. Yeah. One don't ever got the first round. The other one be blowing leads.
You don't give Embiid no excuse. I don't give nobody no excuse. But Embiid team was way better than T-Mac team. Even though you never should blow no 3-1 lead. I was just shitting on Doc. So,
well, T-Mac was out there with Daryl Armstrong.
But listen, the block don't teach expressing yourself. They tell you spread your wings, don't share your wealth. The poison mind of an adolescent is mad depressing. Nothing more dangerous than an empty mind in a crowded section. Don't come half-stepping.